Good morning, everybody. Welcome to everybody's favorite new show in the morning, Rise and Grind with Vince, where we talk about the news and events in the morning to start off our days. Hope you all are doing well. And it is January 11th, 2024. And here we go. It's Thursday. Coming into the weekend. I'm excited. I'm ready. It's been a long week. Busy week, and I am tired, but we're pushing forward. Good morning, everybody, one and all. Hope you're doing good. Everyone's shuffling in here. Get your coffees ready and all that, because there's a lot of news to cover, as always. And we're going to get right into things. So much going on. My gosh. Can't even keep up with it. It's so intense and relentless. Start with stocks here. They're down today. S&P 500's down 0.78%. Nasdaq's down 0.96%. We got December inflation data coming in hotter than expected. The report could raise new questions about the Fed's path for interest rates, they say. So that's why we're seeing this move as crude oil goes up over 3% to $73.69. It's probably in response to what's happening in the Red Sea. We've got gold, $2,030, silver, $22.78, Bitcoin still between $45,000 and $46,000, close to $46,000. Interesting. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. It shot up here this morning to almost 49,000, and now it's been on a decrease since then. I think that's a new high for the year. 49,000. Oof. That is because spot Bitcoin ETF has began trading, which I think is actually not the greatest idea. I think it's ripe for people taking advantage of the situation there. So it says, while stocks open Thursday in the green, short-lived, the crypto sector is coming out swinging the day after U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission regulators passed approval for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Isn't this just after the SEC got hacked announcing that a Bitcoin ETF was coming out? Did they really get hacked, or did they really announce it? Because now it's out. It's like, really? What is going on here? Did they actually just make a mistake and say they got hacked? But then Twitter came out and said that they confirmed they got hacked. So it's just a coincidence, right? Oh, those dang coincidences. I hate those. Those aren't real. That's weird. Yahoo Finance's Jared Bleicher deep dives into morning market performances, eyeballing Bitcoin's Bitcoin USD climb above 47,000 as several spot Bitcoin ETFs, BRRR, IBIT, BTCW begin trading. Burr, really? That's what the Fed makes the printers do, Burr, and that's what they're calling it? BRRR? It's trading at $13.50 right now. It's up 2,602%. Yeah. So interesting, huh? Can't make this stuff up. And while they say that, I think that may be incorrect there, but just because it's just coming out now. But we'll see. We'll keep our eye on this. Very interesting. BRRR, the Valkyrie Bitcoin Fund. What else do we got? What are the other ones? BRRR, IBIT, and BTCW. iShares Bitcoin Trust is IBIT, trading at $26.30. And it's been on a steady decline today. My goodness. And this really makes me want to trade, but man, it's probably a bad idea. 49.65 is Wisdom Tree Bitcoin Fund, BTCW. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed, I will say. I need to make sure I get this article here into the notes, which all these notes of everything I discuss and more will be available shortly after this live show on my Substack. You could follow my Substack in the description. It's on my website. If you want the written news and all the links and more that I don't discuss every morning at about 9:45 a.m. Pacific time. Okay. Let's see. Let's go here. We got some chats here. Good morning, 11. Good morning, Quiet Toad. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. And good morning, D Live. Good morning, Rumble folks over there. Do me a favor and hit that thumbs up on YouTube and Rumble or wherever you're enjoying the program. I called today's show Misinformation Risk. Let's reverse back to that for a second here. Misinformation risk sounds like a mainstream media topic. It is. Certainly is. If that's what you thought, you're absolutely right. That's the narrative out there because Davos meeting just happened. And guess what? They evaluated the greatest risks to the world, and in their magnificent, omnipotent, well-deserved insight that we all care so much about, misinformation takes the top spot in the prestigious World Economic Forum top global risk ranking. Elon Musk tweeted out in response to this. He says, by misinformation, World Economic Forum means anything that conflicts with its agenda. Dazed Hazard put out the full list. We've got number 1, misinformation and disinformation. Number 2, extreme weather events. Societal polarization is number 3. Number 4 is cyber insecurity. Number 5 is interstate armed conflict. Number 6 is lack of economic opportunity. Number 7 is inflation. Number 8, involuntary migration. Number 9, economic downturn. And 10th, pollution. Wow. So if this isn't a list of things to come, I don't know what is. So let's see here. So I guess firstly, we could expect misinformation and disinformation, and that there could be consequences of that. And then they'll be saying, I told you guys so. We need to come together and regulate the world and protect everybody, and just give us all your rights and freedoms, and we'll do that for you. At the same time, I think all these other things are going on to a certain degree. Weather events, societal polarization. We have all these things happening now. Cyber insecurity, I mean, that's always a topic, and we see constant hacks in the US and abroad. All of these things. It's kind of silly how they put it, though. These sons of guns. They must be scared because misinformation and disinformation is number 1. I mean, come on, really? You know, that's BS. They just want to silence the internet, folks. That's what they want there. They don't want people figuring things out, connecting dots. They must be getting worried, yeah. Well, onward here. Let's see. Onward. Let me see. I need to get my notes here. Here we are. Elon Musk also said that here, as promised, This platform will fight for your freedom to speak. This comes yesterday after X News reports that justice has prevailed. X has successfully fought for its users' right to free speech. The University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign has rescinded its disciplinary action against Juan David Capelargo, dropping all charges and closing the case. Mr. Capelargo was threatened with dismissal from his on-campus job and eviction from student housing by the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign based on charges that his ex-posts about free food on campus breached the student code of conduct. Additionally, he was accused of taking food that the cafeteria staff was discarding with their permission at one event. Really? When we learned Mr. Capelargo had been disciplined due to his ex-post, we intervened to support him. If you can be punished for posting about free food, what can't you be punished for? X hired the Cher Jaff law firm at no cost to Mr. Capelargo to submit an appeal to defend his First Amendment right to free speech, which the university had violated. The university first resisted and informed Mr. Capelargo that he was not allowed to be represented by a lawyer in their disciplinary proceedings. Mr. Capelargo has now prevailed in his appeal and is free to resume posting on his X account and can continue on his on-campus job and student housing without any issues. We must always stand firm in the face of threats and intimidation to protect our rights to free speech. It's the cornerstone of democracy and a fundamental human right. X News writes. And Elon Musk, he made a promise that if people are under attack, to contact him because he will get you a lawyer. It's interesting. Obviously, at his own discretion and if he notices. But this is great. This is great. Great news there. Great news. A little bit of great news. And we need it because they're really pushing fear. They're really pushing end of the world vibes. And that's for sure. For example, more than $1 billion worth of shoulder-fired missiles, kamikaze drones, and night vision devices that the U.S. has sent to Ukraine. What's the rest of it? Well, these weapons have not been properly tracked by American officials. A new Pentagon report concludes, raising concerns they could be stolen or smuggled, according to the New York Times. Over $1 billion worth of shoulder-fired missiles, kamikaze drones, and night vision devices the U.S. sent to Ukraine are gone. They could be stolen or smuggled. Zelensky, we trusted you, you son of a gun. Not really. We didn't. We knew this would happen. And just more of our weapons, just somewhere. Probably for the next war out there, sold to terrorists or who knows what. We had no idea this was going to happen. We were just trying to be good people. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, gosh, I'm losing connection here. Testing. Bear with me as this gets started. I apologize for this interruption. I apologize. I think I'm good. We've got bad weather and all this stuff going on. I apologize for that. The Bitcoin situation was weird, and since the beginning of Bitcoin, back in the early or late 2000s, when it came into the sight of the SEC, they're like, "Yeah, Bitcoin, fake. Bitcoin never going to be anything." Nah, the SEC is like, "We're never going to endorse it. Stupid. And now they approve 11 Bitcoin spot ETFs, opening the doors for billions of more money to flood into the market, affecting the price of Bitcoin. Wow. So fucking crazy. Excuse my language there. Hunter Biden to appear in court on tax charges. Oh, Hunter, I can't believe you didn't pay taxes. Oh my gosh, get him on the tax thing. What about everything else? Hunter Biden was due to appear in federal court in Los Angeles on Thursday on tax evasion charges, heaping further pressure on President Joe Biden as he readies for a bare-knuckle election rematch with scandal-plagued Republican Donald Trump. This is an article by Insider Paper. Hunter Biden, a businessman and recovering drug addict, is a lightning rod for Republicans who paint him as the thin end of a wedge in what they call, without evidence, a corruption scheme involving his father. Why is Insider Paper writing like this now? And, you know, they're hit or miss, but these media organizations that sometimes publish okay information, other times publish stuff like this. It's very interesting. Yesterday, they published some garbage too, where they were like, look at this alien on this hill, or early this morning, look at the alien on this hill. And I commented, I'm like, that looks fake. And someone's like, that's a scarecrow. Or they said it was a giant Nephilim or whatever. I was like, what the hell? Why are you posting this? What's going on? Really? I mean, I know there's a lot of news to report on. I don't know why you're reporting this, by the way. And then they attached an article from the New York Post, and they're like, here's more from the New York Post. And the New York Post article was from like a decade ago. I'm like, really? You're not even like trying. Man. They continue to write here in this article. The younger Biden's appearance in Los Angeles comes a day after he turned up unannounced on Capitol Hill, where two Republican-dominated committees were debating contempt resolutions over his refusal to give closed-door testimony about his business dealings last month. The 53-year-old was due to be arraigned Thursday on 9 counts of refusing to pay federal taxes. The indictment issued on December 7th alleges that the money should have gone to government coffers. Instead, it was squandered on funding an extravagant lifestyle. He faces up to 17 years in prison if convicted of all the 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors. He is also under indictment on federal gun charges in Delaware that allege in 2018 he broke laws against drug users having guns. Wow. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, it's just a silly situation, and nothing's happening. But I mean, I guess we're making slow steps, slow progress. All right. Let me double check this real quick. All right. It's a quiet morning this morning, huh? Maybe I need to go over here. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second here as I organize myself. Gosh. We'll get into more big stuff going on. I was wondering why this wasn't here. Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I totally missed the chat. Good morning, Slum, Raja, Lori, Lisa, everybody. How y'all doing? We're going to keep getting into things. Let's figure out what's going on in this crazy, wacky wonderland. Just watch out for misinformation, folks. It could be comes in many forms, and it could be anywhere. So take everything with a grain of salt. Even these companies that sometimes people think are reliable are a little bit risky. Everything, there's risk everywhere. You could find BS anywhere. Wow, I found this interesting. Speaking of misinformation, or what is often considered misinformation, coming from a cartoon. I don't know how they haven't ever been censored or banned or whatever, but I guess it's because of something called the Constitution. And here's a clip from a cartoon, Family Guy, that people are like, really? How did this show never get canceled? How did they not get canceled?
Ground Zero. So this is where the first guy got AIDS.
Peter, this is the site of the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Oh, so Saddam Hussein did this?
No.
The Iraqi army?
No.
Some guys from Iraq?
No.
That one lady who visited Iraq that one time?
No, Peter, Iraq had nothing to do with this. It was a bunch of Saudi Arabians, Lebanese, and Egyptians financed by a Saudi Arabian guy living in Afghanistan and sheltered by Pakistanis.
So you're saying we need to invade Iran? Ground Zero.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's true. Some people believe. And I think that's exactly where we're sort of finding ourselves again today. Oh, the horrible New York Post said that U.S. intelligence reportedly fears Hezbollah could attack America. It's something to be worried about, they say. Be extremely fearful of this as you go throughout your day, okay? It's really great for your health. And New York Post said we should be scared. So let's all take a moment to really be fearful of this happening, okay? Even though nothing's happening right now and it's not affecting any of us, let's just make sure we take the time to just really raise those stress levels. And yeah, they're pushing fear like crazy. And not that nothing's going to happen. I'm sure it's probably, I mean, everything's indicating that, yes, something's going to happen. But all the fear mongering and everything is not a solution. If anything, we need to focus on things that we have control over. Otherwise, we'll lose our damn minds, first of all. So we have control over our own actions. We have control over our thoughts to the best of our ability, most of us, and these kinds of things. So we have to focus on the things that we can change, prepare for the worst case scenarios of things like this that are possible and hopefully do not happen. But it's building up. It's building up for sure. Pressure is building. U.S. intelligence officials reportedly fear Hezbollah could launch an attack in America as tensions spill over from the terrorist group's assault on Israel. The Lebanese group will likely first target American military or diplomatic personnel in the Middle East, but could also have sights on American soil. 4 unidentified intelligence officials told Politico. So 4 unidentified intelligence officials is the source for this story. Hey, I'm just an anonymous guy from, the CIA. Hey, I'm just an anonymous guy from the FBI. It's probably a 3-letter agency. Let's be real here. And that's the source of the story. My sources told me that this is going to happen. Not that it's not going to happen. It's just, really? After all we know about some of these agencies' actions, this is where the news is coming from that's going to get into the New York Post and Politico. That's not good. Talk about misinformation, disinformation, or control. Maybe the World Economic Forum is right. Misinformation is the greatest risk to the world right now. Maybe not in the way that they are saying. I think it's like when we say that, when the people say that, it's different than when the globalists say that, right? A little bit. This article continues. It says, Hezbollah could draw on the capability they have to put people in places to do something, warned one of the officials. It's something to be worried about. The 4 officials did not offer specifics on what types of attacks are feared. However, they warned that Hezbollah has an expensive international network greater than those of either ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Secretary of State Antony Blinken also warned on Sunday that it is a moment of profound tension in the region. This is a conflict that could easily metastasize, he said, of the threat of it spreading. Good God. I pray not. But that's what they're building up to. I think they want people just absolutely begging for war. I think they do. I think they want people to say, we need to go to war. Go to war. Go to war. Do something about the terrorist attack. Do something about this. Do something about that. Yeah, that's what it's going to, I think, turn into. And they're going to say, oh, we see how pissed you all are. We're going to war because we care about you. So here we go. Write us a check, please. Government, thank you. God forbid. The UK unveils new plans for the biggest nuclear expansion in 70 years. Wow. And we just covered yesterday that we had a huge energy projection in India as well, I think, with coal power being increased. It says here on Insider Paper, the UK government on Thursday announced plans for what it said was the country's biggest expansion of nuclear power for 70 years to bolster its energy independence and meet carbon emission targets. The civil nuclear roadmap includes exploring the construction of a major new power station. Taken together, the measure would quadruple UK nuclear power by 2050 to 24 gigawatts, enough to power a quarter of the UK's electricity needs. That's it. But I mean, I don't know how their distribution is on how they're fueling their country, but yeah, a quarter. Nuclear is the perfect antidote to the energy challenges facing Britain. It's green, it's cheaper in the long term, and will ensure the UK's energy security, said Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. This is the right long-term decision and is the next step in our commitment to nuclear power, which puts us on course to achieve net zero by 2050 in a measured and sustainable way, he added. Yeah, climate scam in action. Right on. Good for you. Everybody clap for them. Good job. Oh, yeah. Good. Good for you. Good for you. Ecuador. Good googly moogly. What is going on over there? More in Ecuador here. Sky News reported that deserted streets in Ecuador as president declares a state of war on drug gangs. This happened again. Nearly 300 people so far have been arrested for alleged acts of terrorism in the country, including those who invaded a live television broadcast. The streets in Ecuador fell silent after this terrorist attack in this event, or people are calling it a terrorist attack. It is. As President Daniel Noboa declared a state of war on drug trafficking gangs. Residents in this country's capital, Quito, and port city of Guayaquil likened the atmosphere to a pandemic lockdown, with many businesses closed and schools shuttered. Gosh. We've taken measures that should have been taken a long time ago and which past governments did not take the decision to do. We're living in a state practically of war against terrorism. These are not organized criminal groups, but terrorists, sometimes financed by narco traffic, sometimes human trafficking, organ trafficking, gun running. It's a statement by President Noboa. Sorry. He named 22 gangs as terrorist organizations, making them official military targets. The president warned that judges, prosecutors, and officials who collaborated with the gangs would be considered part of a terrorist network. Unrest was triggered after the leader of one of Ecuador's most powerful drug gangs, Los Choneros, disappeared from prison. That was the catalyst a couple days ago. The government claimed the latest wave of violence is a reaction to the president's plan to build a new high-security prisons for gang leaders. The country will also begin deporting foreign prisoners, especially Colombians, to reduce prison populations and spending. Cool. Wild. Let's see. Do we have an update on what's going on here in Ecuador? Absolutely insane situation, man. Let's see. Ecuador says here Public. I don't know what news organization this is called Public, but they said that Ecuador's shocking mafia violence threatens to worsen the border and migration crisis. Latin America once again teeters on the brink of chaos. Sounds kind of like an opinion piece, but I think that there's something to be said for that. Locals are supporting the military in Ecuador as they have been going through and trying to get a hold on the situation. Absolutely crazy. So what they are 11. So what they are saying is they will be dropping them off at our border. They're not saying it, but that assertion that it's going to affect our issue is based on the border being wide open. And if a mafia or narco boss or drug lord happens to escape prison, where do you think he's going to go? Probably I'm not literally asking you that, it's rhetorical, but yeah, I mean the opportunity for criminals to cross that border is huge, and it probably has been happening for years and years and years and years. Even when the border was like the last thing people were thinking about, criminals were still going back and forth and doing exactly what was just mentioned. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, etc., you name it, it's happening, and more now than ever. So yeah, I mean, pretty much 11, or could I call you 11? I don't know, 1-1. Absolutely wild. I did get some sleep last night. Thanks for asking, and thank you for encouraging everyone to hit that like button and follow and share. I appreciate that. Good morning, Forest Friend. How you doing? And Raja. All right, onward. Iran's intelligence ministry says 35 people arrested in relation to deadly Kerman attacks. 35 people arrested in relation to deadly Kerman attacks. Let's see. Can we find this article according to Tasnim? Let's see if we can find this. So here we go. Dubai. Today, Iranian authorities have arrested 35 people in relation to the January 3rd attacks in the southeastern city of Kerman, the intelligence ministry said on Thursday, according to the semi-official Tasnim news agency. The ministry said that it identified one of the two suicide bombers as a national of Tajikistan who entered Iran illegally on December 19th. Oh, wow. We were just talking about that. People who enter countries illegally. Oh, somehow. I mean, I'm sure they were just looking for better beginnings, but they just got tied up with the bad crowd, right? More information will be released at a later date about the second suicide bomber, the ministry said, adding that the arrest had been carried out in several Iranian provinces. The Islamic State claimed responsibility on January 4th for the attack that killed nearly 100 people and wounded 284 at a memorial for top commander Qasem Soleimani. Tehran has vowed revenge for the bloodiest attack since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. We have the UK Navy in the news. A hijacked vessel altered course toward Iranian waters. What's this whole story? I've heard some various things about this that... Here we go. Can we find the truth about this story, please? Here's one article from Reuters. It says India intercepts hijacked Liberian flagged vessel in Arabia Sea, the Navy says. Okay, so here's the story. Okay, and look, I take all of this stuff with a grain of salt. I mean, there's always a little bit of truth to some of these things, but man. Oh, hey, RMU. I'll try to remember RMU. Okay, thank you so much. Good to see you. Here's the story. New Delhi. Indian Navy commandos have boarded and hijacked a Liberian flagged vessel in the Arabian Sea and are now carrying out sanitization operations, the Navy said on Friday, without elaborating. An Indian Navy warship intercepted the MV Leela Norfolk on Friday afternoon, less than a day after the Navy received news that it had been hijacked off Somalia's coast in the North Arabian Sea. In the latest update on the incident, the UK Maritime Trade Operations UKMTO agency said no unauthorized persons were found on board the vessel by military forces, and all crews are safe and accounted for. Vessel is proceeding out of the area, it said. At least 15 Indian crew members were on board the vessel, which was hijacked near Somalia's coast, and the Navy received information about it on Thursday evening. Indian news agency ANI, in which Reuters has a minority stake, reported earlier, citing military officials. The The warship INS Chennai was diverted and deployed to assist the vessel, the Navy said earlier that day, adding that a naval aircraft flew over the hijacked vessel on Friday and had established contact with it. The Indian Navy has increased its surveillance of the Arabian Sea after a recent spate of attacks in the region. It said earlier this week that it had investigated a large number of fishing vessels and boarded vessels of interest in the region. The hijacking of commercial ships and attempted hijackings by suspected pirates near the Gulf of Aden and Arabia Sea regions resumed in December after a 6-year lull. Experts believe this is because naval forces led by the U.S. have diverted their attention to the Red Sea to thwart Houthi attacks. Data from the Indian Navy's Information Fusion Center, India Ocean region, shows at least 3 hijackings in December. The previous such incident was reported in 2017. Interesting. So we're seeing an increase in this. Look at this. Al-Shabaab militants have captured a UN helicopter when it made an emergency landing in an area controlled by the Islamist group. The UN had a helicopter stolen. And I put the wrong link in here. I'm going to have to fix this. Let me fix this real quick. See if I could pull this up. This was about, let's see, UN contracted helicopter captured by Al-Shabaab militants in central Somalia. Same region here. Sources said Al-Shabaab had captured the helicopter and are holding at least 6 hostages, while 2 others escaped and 1 was reportedly killed. The UN assistance mission in Somalia confirmed on Wednesday evening that the helicopter was conducting an air medical evacuation in the Galgadud region when the incident occurred. The UN is in the process of gathering all relevant information. Response efforts are underway. More information will be shared when it becomes available. What? Make sure I put this link in here. My goodness. You guys, stuff's getting crazy. Stuff's absolutely getting crazy. That's funny, Army Rangers. I wouldn't, I've never actually had a professional massage. Never, ever, ever. I need one, that's for sure. Man, this global destabilization and just these events that are occurring are concerning. But like I said, we can't wallow in what we can't control. But man, it's quite depressing following this stuff. It certainly is alarming. Onward. IRGC Special Forces seize the Suez Rajan ship with 1 million barrels of oil illegally seized by the United States. Sprinter posted this. What is going on here? There's no actual article here, and I don't think this is, let's see, completely reliable. I think this could be fake news here, literally, quite literally. Let's see here if what we could find. Rajan. I thought this was interesting that it's being put out there. And when we see things like this, especially from random accounts like Sprinter with over 500,000 followers, they say they are global events and short posts, content for curious minds. And they seem to be kind of biased, but let's see. Iran confirms its Navy seizes oil tanker in Gulf of Oman that was the center of a major U.S.-Iran crisis. Yep. I guess maybe it's real here. Dubai, UAE. Iran's Navy captured an oil tanker Thursday in the Gulf of Oman that only months earlier had seen its cargo of Iranian oil seized by the United States over sanctions linked to Iran's nuclear program, further escalating the tensions gripping the Mideast waterways. Holy smokes. Not good. This is straight up like brink of war stuff. I mean, serious. There's a war. This is war, folks. I don't know. I mean, this is war. We're stealing ships from each other, left and right. Good God. The vessel was previously known as the Suez Rajan when it was involved in a year-long dispute beginning in 2021 that ultimately saw the U.S. Justice Department take the 1 million barrels of Iranian crude oil on it. The seizure also comes after weeks of attacks by Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi rebels on shipping in the Red Sea, including their largest barrage ever of drones and missiles launched late Tuesday. That has raised the risk of possible retaliatory strikes by U.S.-led forces now patrolling the vital waterway, especially after a UN Security Council vote on Wednesday condemning the Houthis, and as American and British officials warned of potential consequences over the attacks. Iran's state-run television acknowledged the seizure late Thursday afternoon, hours after armed men boarded it. Linking it to the earlier oil seizure, it said Iran's Navy, rather than its paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, conducted the seizure. Past tense incidents at sea have largely involved the Guard. The Iranian Navy's seizure of the oil tanker does not constitute hijacking. Rather, it is a lawful undertaking sanctioned by a court order and corresponds to the theft of Iran's very own oil. Iran's mission to the United Nations told the Associated Press in a statement, quote, "Adhering to the established legal procedures is the most prudent approach for the resolution of this matter." Whoa. This is crazy, folks. Can't make this stuff up. And then we've got according to the RIA, the Kremlin says Russia has almost no communication channels with the United States. I believe that. Why would they be talking to Russia? Why would the Biden administration talk to Russia? They want war after all. They don't want to resolve anything or, God forbid, negotiate some kind of peace over there with Ukraine and Russia. That would be horrible for their mission. Peace? That would be horrible. Onward. Hearings have started at the Hague, as South Africa accuses Israel of genocide. This is many are coming together and accusing Israel of genocide. South Africa claims the war in Gaza violates the 1948 Genocide Convention. We've got a short clip here. Let's see what they have to say.
Itself at the UN's highest court today against allegations that it's committing genocide in Gaza. These are the proceedings underway in The Hague. Let's just dip in and have a listen.
Racial and ethnical group in the wake of the attacks in Israel on 7 October 2023. South Africa contends that the acts and omissions by Israel of which it complains are genocidal in character because, I quote, "They are intended to bring about the destruction of a substantial part of the Palestinian national, racial, and ethnical group, that being the part of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip." End of quote. South Africa asserts that the relevant acts are attributable to Israel, which has failed to prevent genocide and is committing genocide, and which has
Great. I think I've disconnected again. Please bear with me as I see if this will get back going here. Bear with me. Please stand by. Please stand by. We've got more news here. I apologize for that interruption. I'm going to go back just slightly here.
Obligations under the Genocide Convention. The application contains a request for the indication of provisional measures pursuant to Article 41 of the Statute of Court and Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. According to South Africa, I quote, "Provisional measures are necessary in this case to protect against further severe and irreparable harm to the rights of the Palestinian people under the Genocide Convention, which continue to be violated with impunity. South Africa requests that the court indicate provisional measures to protect and preserve those rights, as well as its own rights under the Convention, and to prevent any aggravation or extension of the dispute pending the determination of the merits of the issues raised by the application. End of quote.
It's serious. I mean, other parts of the world are coming together and they're not happy with what's going on around the world. And there are various groups, various alliances and groups and hearings and whatnot. Was something going on with my stream here? Am I still live on DLive? I don't know. I apologize, folks. What a nightmare. Klaus Schwab, again, we just talked about this at the first thing today about misinformation being the number one risk. Jim Ferguson published this, that Klaus Schwab sees what's happening in Germany and panics. He admits that what we're seeing is a revolution. And what is going on in Germany is that the farmers have won. Apparently, the farmers have won. The German farmers. After bringing Berlin to a complete halt, the government have backed down on several ludicrous taxation and net zero policy impacting food production. Of course, you won't see this on the fake news mainstream media, as they don't wish you to know the wider narrative and or implications of resist green nonsense. Here is Klausi. I care about you.
You have this anti-system movement. What we are seeing is a revolution against the system. So fixing the present system is not enough. Now there is, of course, an anti-system which is called libertarianism, which means to tear down everything which creates some kind of influence of government into private lives. It's dismantling the system.
He's dismantling the system. Yeah, people don't want the system, you know. Whatever system the people have, they have the right to do whatever they want with that system. It's the people. The people. You know, it's not this one person. Klausi. State of emergency declared after rioting and looting kills 16 in Papua New Guinea. The authorities blame opportunists for the trouble and say nearly 200 police are being diverted from other areas to help regain control in the capital. In a state of emergency has been declared in Papua New Guinea after 16 people were killed during rioting and looting. The Prime Minister James Marape declared the state of emergency on Thursday and announced he had suspended the country's chief of police as well as top bureaucrats in the finance and treasury departments. The violence began in the capital, Port Moresby, on Wednesday after hundreds of police, soldiers, prison staff, and other workers walked out due to missing pay. The government blamed it on an administrative error and denied a new tax had been imposed. Shops and businesses were vandalized and set on fire in the two biggest cities, with people grabbing goods from smashed up stores. This is SHTF Part 1. That's what we're seeing. That's January. Officials said 180 police were being moved to the Port Moresby from regional areas to regain control. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reported at least 15 people had died. The second in the capital and Leh, the second biggest city. Firefighters were also threatened, and the guardhouse at Parliament was burned. Quote, "We have seen unprecedented level of strife in our city, something that has never happened before in the history of our city and our country," said the capital's district governor, Paus Parkop. "Some people sadly lost their lives today," he added. Mr. Marape said on Thursday that Port Moresby was under stress and duress, but that things were calming down. Yikes, yikes, yikes. The country, about 100 miles from the northern tip of Australia, has seen an increase in violent crimes over the last year, with tensions over the increased cost of living and high unemployment. Just one riot after another. If it's not riots, it's terrorists. If it's not terrorists, it's something. This is crazy. Apparently, the U.S. Embassy warns Americans not to use dating apps in Colombia after 8 suspicious deaths. This link's gone, huh? No. According to Fox. So if you're dating in Colombia, don't use their apps, especially if you're American, because apparently there are some suspicious deaths. Suspicious deaths, of course. Online dating. What a fun proposition, huh? My God. All right. I need a moderator. You guys, stop. All right, let's see where am I going from here? We have a little bit of time left. Let's see. Actually, let's just stop it here. I'm going to publish this. I got to go run. And that's it. And that's that, folks. Sorry for a little bit of an early ending here. But let's carry on. We'll be meeting back tomorrow morning, same place, same time. And you can join my Substack for all these links and more. I'm working on a piece of content that's going to be very much health centric, and I'm excited for that. I'm just doing research right now, so it'll probably be at least a couple weeks before I do that, I think. Thank you, Lucas. And so you could expect that to be coming. I'm working on it little by little, doing research, and I'm super excited about it. It's really fascinating, and it's about fermentation. I know it sounds weird, but it is, and it's really great, really great. So I can't wait to release that later. Thank you all for tuning in. If I missed anything very important, let me know, and you could always tag me on X. You could always send me a comment here or contact me on my website in the description. Let me take a really quick look. The border crisis is really trending, and let's take a really quick look here just in case there's something real big. Thank you, Quiet Toad. Thank you very much. I don't think so. All right. Well, we shall wait. Follow me on Twitter if you want other things. I am constantly posting and BSing over there. Thank you, Left Maryland. And take care. God bless and Godspeed.